What is up, everybody? And welcome back. Welcome back to another edition, another episode of Meet on the 50. It's Friday. It's our weekly picks episode where we are going to be breaking down most of the action in front of us this week. Let's not waste any time. Let's get into it. So let's just start the show. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Meet on the 50. It is our second episode of the week, which means it is our weekly picks episode where we dive into the games ahead of us this week, give our predictions, give our thoughts, analysis, expectations, all that good stuff. And the man who is always by my side to do this, one of my best friends who joins me week in and week out, one of my best friends, Brandon Sullivan. Brandon, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Looking back, at last week, we were able to go over that. But one thing I wanted to point it out is, on the path to the Super Bowl, our two teams are now knotted up at 4-4.
Yep.
Halfway through the season.
Yep.
Who would have thought? But, I think we're still in a good position. So it could be worse. Sure. Given the circumstances, it could be worse. So, halfway through the season, we both have a fighting chance to make that happen. So I would say that, I'm in a good, I'm going to have a good mindset.
I like it. Yeah. I'm doing good too. I'm excited for another week of NFL action. Your team is off this week. We will get into that, but I'm ready. I'm excited. This week is kind of a light week, but I do still think there are some games on the schedule worth talking about. We'll see what's going on, but all I'm hoping is that the games in person are a little bit better than the games on paper. That's all I'm saying, right? Remember, you can follow along with us all season long on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, right? Follow along with us all season, easier than ever. And of course, remember, if you like anything that you see or hear, do us a favor, just smash that like button, smash the subscribe button, just tap on that bell notification to do that way. Anytime new content drops, you're right there to consume it, because that's the only way that you guys can stay in contact with us.
Right? Yeah, that's right. When that content drops, you're in there like swimwear.
I like it, right? You're in there like swimwear. And the best part about it all, it's completely free. It doesn't cost you anything, right? Help us out, okay?
Yeah,
We're helping us out, all right?
$3.99, come on.
$3.99, right? Let's quickly remind them how we did last week, right? For yourself, 9-6, 1-0 on the guaranteed victory. For myself, 9-6, 1-0 on the guaranteed victory. Solid week. Overall, for the season, that puts us at, for yourself, 67, 55, and 1, 5 and 3 on the guaranteed victory. Solid. For myself, 71, 51, and 1, 6, 1, and 1 on the guaranteed victory. Solid, right? Looking good after a rough start to the season.
Yep.
Let's wipe those off the screen, because just like Bill Belichick, we're on to week 9, right? We have 6 teams on bye this week, right? We have Cleveland Browns, Cleveland Dukies, Dallas Cowboys, Denver Donkeys, New York Giants, Pittsburgh Steelers, and the San Francisco 49ers, right? All getting some teams getting a more well-deserved break than others, right? It's a light week for us. It is a light week for us, but let's get into it, right? Starting us off on Thursday, we're adding a new wrinkle to fantasy time. We're in week 9. Some teams don't have a fighting chance. So we have something called quick picks, which you will very quickly catch up on. So leading us off on Thursday, we have the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to, I want you so bad. One more week. You hear me, Houston? One more week. The Houston
Dumpster Fire Texans.
Oh, man, it's going to feel great when they drop this game next week. Philadelphia Eagles traveling to Houston to take on the Texans. What do you got for me?
I'm not going to wait till next week. I'm going to say this week I got a guaranteed victory. I think the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Houston Dumpster Fire Texans 31-10.
And that is going to make our third third double guaranteed victory of the season. Philadelphia Eagles moving to 9-0, right? 9-0. They haven't had their bye yet. 8-0, right? 8-0, man. Philadelphia Eagles 8-0, 35-17, double guaranteed victory. Hate to do it to you, but next week the Houston Texans will have a new name if they drop this game. Moving on to Sunday morning, we got the Los Angeles Chargers coming off their bye, traveling down to Atlanta. Rest in peace, Takeoff. We got Los Angeles Chargers traveling down to Atlanta to take on the Atlanta Falcons. What do you got for me?
I'm going to say that the Chargers get it together after a bye week. I think the San Diego Chargers are going to be able to beat Atlanta. In Atlanta, I think Atlanta's kind of a wild card at this point. It could go either way.
I like it.
I'm not really convinced, but I am going to take the Chargers to win this one 31-24.
Yeah, this one is a tough one, right? Even ESPN doesn't know what to do with this game because they have this game basically 50-50. It's even. So this is a toughie. Atlanta Falcons coming off of a dramatic victory against the Panthers. Los Angeles Chargers coming off a dramatic session of sitting on the couch. I'm going to go Los Angeles Chargers here. Coming off a bye, I do think they get it done in Atlanta 28-24. Moving on to the team that just is making moves. Holy moly, the team that is making moves. The Miami Dolphins, right? Acquiring Bradley Chubb from the Denver Donkeys, traveling to the Chicago Bears, who just acquired Chase Claypool from the Pittsburgh Steelers. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I still, I don't know. Justin Fields has been kind of lackluster this season. He's been okay. I think, it's going to take him some time, but when I talk about a bust, I think, unfortunately for him, it's starting to kind of look that way. I think he's barely cracked 1,000 yards this season. He doesn't have many touchdowns. They haven't had much. I think, trading Roquan Smith, that's surprising because the defense is your only highlight. So picking Miami in this one. Do you think Miami wins this one 27-17?
Yeah, I after what I saw last week, the comeback that they pulled off, obviously, it was against Detroit. Not very impressive. They were supposed to win that game, and they did. But at the same time, the Miami Dolphins, man, they are an electric team, and I've been saying it all season long. Tua, Tyreek, Jalen, right? Now they have Jeff Wilson Jr. Sorry, I forgot to mention him too. Trading away Chase Edmonds, they got Jeff, so now he's reuniting with Mike. The Miami
they got
Dolphins,
Raheem and Jeff.
Jeff and
they got Raheem Mostert.
And yeah. So you're right. Sorry,
so
it's
the Miami 49ers. The Miami 49ers. Yeah.
It's yes. Sorry. Yeah. The Miami 49ers are taking on the Chicago Bears. Excuse me, right? Sorry. Yeah, I forgot. Mike McDaniels reunited. Raheem Mostert reunited, right? So basically, if you're a 49er, definitely you're most likely going to end up on the Miami Dolphins at some point. So we'll see what happens there, but I'm going Miami Dolphins 35-14, handling business over the Chicago Bears. Next up, we got the Carolina Panthers, who pulled off some late game heroics last week. PJ Walker lighting it up. Former XFL QB, if you remember, traveling. Come on, you mother effers. Traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Cincinnati Bengals. What do you got for me?
Got to roll with the Bengals in this one. I think that they had a bad game, but I expect them to bounce back. Like I said, everybody has a bad day at work. Unfortunately, Joe Burrow had it last week against a divisional opponent, but I am going to take him this week. I do think that they are able to handle business pretty they'll get Jamar Chase back, right?
Yeah, 4 weeks it looks like.
Oh, it's 4 weeks. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit of time. Okay, I wasn't sure what the timeline on that was.
4 weeks.
But I still have confidence in the Bengals. I think that they'll win this one 35-24. I do think that Carolina gets some offense going, but I think Cincinnati does enough. Especially being at home, I would be very surprised if they drop this game.
Yeah, Carolina losing Matt Rule, right? Losing Baker Mayfield and losing Christian McCaffrey have completely turned it around, right? Deontay Foreman looking amazing. DJ Moore playing a lot better. PJ Walker looking like an actual viable quarterback. So the Carolina Panthers making some noise right now when everybody kind of counted them out. So that it's kind of like the Dallas Cowboys. Everybody counted the Dallas Cowboys out. They're dominating. So obviously the Carolina Panthers aren't the Cowboys, but the Panthers play tough, and it seems like they've played every team tough lately since these kind of changes and additions and subtractions have kind of happened. So the Bengals have their hands full, but I fully expect that line, who was embarrassed last week against Cleveland, to come out and make a statement and give Joey time, because when Joey has time, I will make the argument that he's probably one of the most accurate quarterbacks in NFL history. So you give Joey time, and he can pass the ball and make things happen. So I need the Bengals line to step up. I need him to trust T. Higgins like he trusts Jamar Chase. I need him to trust Tyler Boyd like he trusts him, and just throw the ball up and let them make a play. If they can't make a play, at least we know what we got, right? So Cincinnati Bengals, 24-17, low-scoring game here at home, but I do think they bounce back heading into their bye with a victory. Next up, we got the Green Bay Packers traveling to the Motor City of Detroit to take on the Detroit Lions. What do you got for me?
Yeah, it's surprising that Green Bay didn't make any trades at the deadline, especially for Brandon Cooks or Chase Claypool, somebody good to get, a weapon for Aaron Rodgers. It's just, they're just leaving so much out there on the field. As far as they off the table, they could have so much more success, but you would think this would have been a perfect timing to make some sort of trade or to work out Odell Beckham. I don't know. Yeah. 3-5 though, you're struggling, but you know what? I'm still going to stand behind it. Unfortunately, I like Dan Campbell. I like the Detroit Lions. I always have. It's ever since I was a kid, just watching them on Thanksgiving, I've always had a soft spot for Detroit. It's unfortunate. I've always wanted them to have success. Unfortunately, it just never really happened. So no matter what Detroit does, nothing ever works out. Worst team in the league. I'm going to stand by it. Green Bay somehow sneaks a win. I'm going to say Green Bay wins this one 24-17.
Yeah, Detroit, terrible. Not a good football team, unfortunately. Have some good pieces, which that's kind of the most it would be one thing if they were just a bad football team, but they definitely have the pieces to be good. They just don't have the correct pieces and the correct place to be good at the current moment. Green Bay struggling, right? You said it. You hit the nail on the head. I am very surprised that they did not make a move. But guess who did? The Chicago Bears, right? You have your own division making moves, and you guys can't even make moves. You have the Vikings making a move. Yeah. You have the Bears making a move, right? You have teams in your division making moves to stay competitive. What do? You sit on your hands. So I am fully convinced, and I just arose to this point as you were talking. I'm fully convinced that as soon as Aaron Rodgers leaves, they're going to make the biggest trade in NFL history, just to spit in this dude's face. Because I'm at the point where they just don't like Aaron. They respect his talent. They like what he's done for the team, but they just don't like him. That's the only reason I can think of why ownership.
They should have traded him then to San Francisco.
I completely agree, but I can think of no other point than they just don't like you for why they just refuse to get you.
I mean, you make a good point. You make a good point.
Yeah, there is no other reason for them to not make moves other than the fact that they just don't like you. So I got Green Bay winning 27-21, but man, to be Aaron Rodgers, that sucks, honestly. You just get no help. Never. So we'll see what happens.
Blame him too for re-signing with the team. That's on him.
It is on him. It is very much on him, right? So Green Bay Packers 27-21. Yeah.
They suck.
I mean, it's unfortunate, right? I never thought I'd be meh on the Green Bay Packers, but I'm kind of meh on the Green Bay Packers this year. So we'll move on. Next up, we got the Indianapolis Mini Horses. Hey, the Colts. Indianapolis Mini Horses, excuse me, traveling to Foxborough to take on the New England Patriots. What do you got for me?
I'm going to pick New England in this one. I think New England wins this one 28-17.
Yeah. Oh, damn, so close. So, I'm rocking, I'm going to go the opposite of you this time, just to kind of flip it up here. I'm going to go with the Colts. The Mini Horses. I do think that they get it done. I do think a week of Sam Ehlinger under center helps them out. Defense played decently. They really just kind of lost that because they kind of choked it there at the end. Colts 21-17. We'll see what happens. Interesting game there. Next up, we got the Buffalo Bills taking on a division opponent, traveling to New York, traveling to New Jersey, making 2 stops, going to MetLife to take on the New York Jets. What do you got for me?
Yeah, not much to say about this game. I think Buffalo goes in and handles their business. I do think that Buffalo is able to win this one 35-21.
Yeah, Jets Jets losing last week against the Pats 13 consecutive times. Obviously, it's kind of what they do, so you kind of expect it. But with how the Jets are playing this year, you kind of thought they may turn the corner. Same thing with the Giants. Both teams. We'll see what We'll see what happens the rest of the season. But Buffalo Bills here all day, every day. 28-21. Close game, but I do think the Buffalo Bills here handle business. Next up, we got the Minnesota Vikings traveling to the nation's capital. Well, really Landover, but they're traveling to the nation's capital to go to Landover, Maryland to take on the Washington Dumpster Fire Commanders. Although Washington, you might lose that name next week, depending on a certain outcome. What do you got for me?
Well, I will say this, the Commanders so far, which I don't know how much longer that will go, they've been kind of sneaky, flying under the radar at 4-4.
Yep.
I think at this point in the season, I would have pinned them at 2-6 or, at the very most 3-5. So,
okay.
But hey, they're playing a little bit better, but regardless, I got to take Minnesota. I do think that Minnesota is going to win this game. I don't think that the Commanders are going to, put up a fight in this one. I think Minnesota's defense and offense is just more superior to Washington. You seen Washington last week against the Colts or whatever. They're an inferior team. Minnesota is definitely a contender. So I'm going to take Minnesota in this one. I do think they win this one 28-14.
Yeah, Minnesota definitely looking good, right? Washington with Taylor Heinicke definitely played better than Carson Wentz. However, I'm going to go with Minnesota here on the road. I do think it's a high-scoring game, again, like we saw last week against Arizona. I'm going to go on the flip side. I think it's a 35-24 game. Taylor Heinicke at home plays slightly better than he does on the road, and I do think he commands the offense a lot better than Carson Wentz does. So I'm going to go Minnesota Vikings, though, getting the victory, but in a close game, 35-24 to just keep rolling in their season, right? Minnesota Vikings handling business on the road.
Good season for them.
Yep, solid season, right? Next up, we got the Las Vegas Raiders traveling. Hopefully they can score some points. Traveling to Jacksonville to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. What do you got for me?
Well, I mean, last week, I had some conversations with some close friends of mine, and they're pretty upset with Derek Carr. The fact that, they weren't able to even produce a point, not even a field goal, when you have arguably a top 5 running back. You have arguably the best receiver in football who had 1 catch for 3 yards. And then obviously your defense is pretty decent. You have 2 really good pass rushers. And Chandler Jones and Max Crosby. And then also you have arguably one of the top 3 or top 2 best kickers in the league. So the fact that you weren't able to produce any points, I can see why they'd be upset with their quarterback. I've never been on the Derek Carr train. I've always thought that, ever since he got hurt back in 2014, his confidence has kind of been out the door. And unfortunately, I can see why the Raiders fans have always kind of given him a chance because, he was their saving grace, and they went to the playoffs and they had a really good season when Amari Cooper was there. Yeah. And so they had a really good year, and he's been the one bright spot through the past decade. So, but I think that Raider fans are starting to understand that with him at QB, there are some risks there, and not a lot of reward. I don't know what has happened, why they have been downward trending since last season. You get a better wide receiver. You get the best wide receiver in the league, in my opinion. And then you get a 6-time Super Bowl champ, offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels, and you have a downward trending. So I don't like the way they're going, but this is definitely a good opponent for them to bounce back to. I will say this: the last time that we had this conversation, kind of where Carr was on the hot seat, I think he's back on it. I think Josh McDaniels is back on it. I think that if you lose this game, because the last time I said it, they were able to win. But if you lose this game, something is changing. You're not going to drop to 2-6 and get shut out by the Saints and then lose to an inferior opponent in the Jaguars, and everything's going to stay the same. There's going to be a change. I'm interested to see your take on that, but I am going to pick the Raiders in this one. I do think that they're able to win this game 28-24 against Jacksonville. I think it's a perfect bounce back game for them.
Yeah, for the first time all season long, we're rolling not with the Raiders. We're going to roll with Jacksonville this week, 24-14. No faith in the Raiders. No faith in Derek Carr. Haven't liked him since, I think, 3 years ago. Should have been gone 3 years ago. Every year he does just enough to get him to 500, to get him a game under 500.
Well, that says a lot, because I'm actually going with the Raiders. I'm just saying, that says a lot, because you're even more done with them than I am.
Yeah, it's very unacceptable to get shut out, especially after the performance you had the week prior. So the Raiders, I don't know what needs to happen. I don't know what is happening. Well, I do know what's happening. It's the quarterback. I mean, it's very simple. Quarterback play is just not up to par. It's not. It hasn't been up to par. I'm glad Josh McDaniels is kind of actually exposing that. I'm kind of glad that hopefully this is Derek's last season. I mean, you fall to 2-6, you're not making the playoffs.
Well, they signed him for, I think that they kind of, I was telling a close friend of ours that, you sign an extension for 3 years beyond this season. I think you wait before you sign an extension to see what a player does. This should have been his extension year. This should have been his contract year. But when you get extended for another $100 million, wherever it was, where's your incentive to, use that extra grit to perform?
Very true, right? So we'll see what happens at the end of the season, right? Like you said, the Raiders kind of hamstring themselves with that contract extension. So we'll see what happens, right? Will they make a trade? Will they do something? If they fall to 2-6, you're definitely right. Something will be done, because you're not making the playoffs at 2-6. You'd essentially have to win every single game for the rest of the season, and the Raiders have one of the hardest schedules in the NFL. So Raiders, we'll see what happens, but I got the Jacksonville Jaguars at home handling business. 24-14. Jacksonville. We'll see what happens there, though. Moving on to our afternoon games. Only got two for you. We got our first game up. We got a division game. We got the Seattle Seahawks traveling to Arizona to take on the Arizona Cardinals. What do you got for me?
Yeah, this is going to be a close one. I'm just going to roll with, it's a crapshoot. It's a flip of a coin. It's a roll of a dice. I'm going to pick Arizona just because they're at home. It's the divisional game. It could go either way. I wouldn't be surprised if Seattle won this game, but if Arizona doesn't win this game, I got some serious question marks about them and their ability to compete in this division, and also Cliff Kingsbury. So I'm going to roll with Arizona. I think Arizona wins in a close one, 27-24.
Yeah, this game dating back to, I think it was 2019, has been flip-flop back and forth, right? Seattle wins one, then Arizona wins one, then Seattle wins one, then Arizona wins one. So I think it's going to continue the same trend. Seattle won the first one, so I think Arizona wins the next one at home, playing a lot better, scoring a lot more points with the return of DeAndre Hopkins. So I think that continues against an impressive Seattle Seahawks team so far. I do think it's a high-scoring game, so I'm going Arizona Cardinals 35-28, handling business at home. Next up, we got the Los Angeles Rams traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Rematch of the playoffs last year. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I'm starting to lose faith in Tampa Bay, unfortunately. So, I have to pick against Tom this year in this one. I gotta roll with the Rams. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in Tampa Bay. I don't know if it's the divorce. I don't know if it's the changing of coaching. I don't know if he's just struggling internally, or if him and his offense is not on the same page. But At this point, I don't know what to expect from Tampa Bay. So I got to roll with the Rams because I think that defense is able to stop them. So that's what I'm going to look into. I know that Rams offense has been struggling, but I think the defense does enough. So yeah, I'm going to pick the Rams here. I do think that they win this one 31-21.
Yeah, I mean, just our thinking is very aligned on a lot of these games, right? Tampa Bay. There's a lot on the outside that is affecting the inside. That's the best way to say it, right? There's a lot going on the outside of Tampa Bay's locker room that is affecting the inside of Tampa Bay's locker room. So Tom Brady and Hull is his issues. It's affecting the players around him, I'm sure, which is affecting the coaches around him, which is affecting his decisions, which is affecting basically everything, because you and I both know that the quarterback is the most important position, not only in the NFL, but maybe in all of sports. So, when you don't have a quarterback who's not locked in as he says he is, who's not as focused as we're used to seeing, you kind of got some problems. So I'm with you. I'm going Los Angeles Rams, travel across the country, and they handle business 24-17 again, beating Tampa Bay again in a close game. But I'm going Los Angeles Rams 24-17, handling business on the road. And our Sunday night game, we got another playoff rematch. Not last year, but a few years ago. We got the Tennessee Titans traveling to Kansas City to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I don't give Tennessee a chance in this game. I think Kansas City comes out after that bye week and carves them up. I think Kansas City wins this game 35-17.
Boom! Let's go, baby. We got one. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm going Kansas City 35-17. I think that bye week just kind of refreshes everybody. And yeah, I mean, you can't really count out the Chiefs, especially the way that now.
No, I've got nothing but respect. I will say that. I'll come out and say it. After what they did to us, they're the real deal. I got nothing but respect for them. It doesn't matter who you give Patrick Mahomes. He's an excellent quarterback.
Just going to say that.
Yeah, I mean, he's a champion. So nothing but respect. I have nothing negative to say about Kansas City anymore. I was pissed off about the Super Bowl and potential holds and things like that, but I don't give Tennessee a chance in this one.
Yeah, took the words right out of my mouth, right? Yeah, it looks like no matter who you put in front of Pat Mahomes, right, he's going to make you an effective receiver, right? Whether it's Juju, Tyreek, MVS, right, McCole Hardman, Pringle, right, Travis Kelce, right? It doesn't matter who it is. He's going to make you an effective weapon. So I'm with you. I got Kansas City Chiefs handling business at home, 35-17. Another team, like you like to say, always plays their games at home, it looks like. So Kansas City Chiefs, 35-17, handling business on Sunday night. And our last game for the week, we got the Baltimore Ravens, who just added, like you said earlier, Roquan Smith from Chicago to bolster that defense. Traveling down to New Orleans, coming off that big win last week against the Raiders to take on the New Orleans Saints. What do you got for me?
Yeah, impressive win by New Orleans. That just as far as completing a shutout, that's hard to do in the NFL to hold a team to no points at all. So anytime that happens, I mean, I don't know the last time the Niners got shut out. It might have been a few years ago. It might have been 10 years ago. I'm not sure, but it's hard to not even put up a field goal. So impressive play by that defense. And the offense did enough. Alvin Kamara, I think he had 3 touchdowns. So yeah. Just impressive play by him. But, Baltimore, revamping that team a little bit, adding Roquan, their defense has gotten better. And so I do think that the Baltimore Ravens are going to be able to beat New Orleans in the Superdome. I think it'll be a close one, but I am going to pick Baltimore in this one, 31-24.
Yeah, I am New Orleans, right? We talked about kind of their shaky defense the last 2 weeks, and they come out and they shut out the Raiders at home. We kind of thought that it would be a better performance by them as a team, but I did not think they were going to shut out the Raiders. I did not think that was going to happen. It normally seems like every single skill position player has their best game against the Raiders, right? So not really surprised there. However, I do think Baltimore is a much better team than the Las Vegas Raiders, even with their defense choking away wins. I do think the Baltimore Ravens are a much better team, and I do think that they bring it to the New Orleans Saints, and I do think that they handle business on the road against the New Orleans Saints. So I'm going Baltimore Ravens to end off our week 28-17, handling business on the road. And that is going to do it for this week's edition, this week's episode of Meat on the 50, right? And as always, Brandon and I want to thank you, right? We want to thank you at home, right? Or wherever you're at. We want to thank you for taking the time, for watching our videos, for listening to our podcast, right? We really appreciate you taking the time to just listen to our thoughts, our predictions, our analysis, expectations, all that good stuff. And remember, you can follow along all season long now on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, making it even easier to follow along the content. And remember, the biggest way you can help us is, and it's very small, very quick, and very easy. Do us a favor, smash that like button, smash the subscribe button, just tap on that bell notification. That way, anytime new videos drop or new podcast episodes drop, you're right there to consume the content, because we're going to be dropping content all season long. Brandon, any last words for the people?
You heard the man. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and, tap that bell notification, so that you're in there like swimwear every time a video drops, and you're able, when it's coming, because we got a lot of stuff going on in our lives, and, we got laundry to do. We got, places to go. We got, trick or treating. We got all kinds of different stuff. We, we got to go to the gym. We got to, we got to cook our meals. We got to, go grocery shopping. So just tap on that bell notification, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, so that you're in there like swimwear anytime that we come out with something.
I love it. That's going to do it for this week's episode. We love you guys. We will see you guys next week. That is one of my best friends, Brandon Sullivan. I am Jacob Keller, the fantasy guy. And until next week, until hopefully after an exciting week 9, Brandon and Jake are out.